Hi, so I'm going to try another amateur commentary. This is me playing as a Zerg player. I actually went random and I got Zerg against a Terran player. So just a quick warning, this is an amateur level game, so if you're looking for people who play the game well, this is not the commentary for you. I'm going to try to aim this commentary at people who played Starcraft 1, but for whatever reason maybe haven't had access to the Starcraft beta, so I'm going to try to gear this towards sort of a tutorial video. I'll certainly be criticizing my own gameplay quite extensively throughout because I play pretty terribly, and I'm aware I play pretty terribly, and I'm looking forward to having more free time in the future to improve my gameplay substantially. One of the interesting things that happens in this particular match here is I break one of my cardinal rules about never underestimating your opponent, and even very early in this game I underestimate my opponent. So you can see this is a strange map for those who haven't seen this map. Your bases are close together, but you have to walk actually all the way around here to get to your opponent early in the game. There are these destructible rocks which you can destroy to get to your opponent faster. So this is about the time, okay, in a few minutes from now, my overlord flies over, sees this supply depot, and sees this barracks just going up. And traditionally, if you watch some of the pro gamers, I'm not a pro gamer, and obviously my opponent is not either, what you typically see is a Terran there's only one ramp in at this place, so the Terran typically puts their barracks and their supply depot here and tries to wall off this opening. That's good defense against a Zerg player, that's good defense against a Protoss player. So as soon as I see this, despite the fact that I'm not the best player, I automatically assume this is going to be a very easy game for me because this barrack seems to be coming up very late, and it's not where I expect it to be, and I figure, oh, okay, I know what I'll do. I'll get maybe some Zerglings, maybe some Roaches, and overrun my opponent pretty easily. Now, the other thing I do pretty badly here is saturating. The advice I've been given, you can double-click, was true in StarCraft 1, you can double-click on your workers, and you can see how many you have selected. If all your rows are selected, that's 24 workers. And the recommendation is in most starting locations you should have closer to 30. So you should be able to double click all your workers, and you should at least see them filled. So this is not a good saturation. I'm still building a few more workers, but this is something that I do. Well, I guess as you could say, this is one of my greatest weaknesses as a player, is I've been doing a very bad job keeping my things saturated. Now, of course, this is early in the game, so and it's a longer game, so I'm actually going to increase the speed here a bit so that we can get through the match faster. And this is actually a very common Terran strategy to start with Reapers. Now, for those of you, most of you probably have seen Reapers for now, but Reapers have this neat. Alright, I'm going to have to slow down because my computer can't handle that speed. The nice thing about Reapers is they can fly up and down the terrain where other units have to walk around and find ramps. I'm countering them with Roaches. Roaches have a nice range. They're pretty good counter to Reapers. These Reapers are just sneaking in, and my Roaches miss them. So perhaps my handling of this Reaper harass could have been handled better. But I do spot this guy. Oh yes, for those of you, most of you may have heard of these vents now. They block vision. Reapers have a special damage that they do against buildings. They do more damage against buildings than they do against regular units. And I saved my expansion. So this was common in StarCraft 1 that a Zerg player would go for an early expansion, especially on a map like this where you can kind of defend your main base and your expansion kind of at the same choke point. There is this back entrance to your expansion, but the opponents have to break those rocks down. And you've probably also seen these Zelnaga watchtowers, which give you kind of this additional vision at important choke points. So this is an example. This is exactly what I say about underestimating my opponent. At this point, I figure I'm going to run in here with a couple roaches. Oh, first I check that he's expanded. A couple roaches and a couple zerglings and completely destroy my opponent. But it doesn't quite work out that way. One of the interesting things I realized from watching this... Oh, I was going to say, for a second I thought he was... I just switched to his viewpoint. For a second I thought he was shift-clicking. Of course, in any battles, if you can get all your units attacking one of their units, you can quickly whittle the units down one at a time. And I thought it from those lines, it was saying that he shift-clicked, attack this guy, attack this guy, attack this guy, so that he was microing down each of my units individually. But rewatching it doesn't look like he did. But that's something I might try. This guy's got all his units in one control group. Do I have control groups yet? I have my hatchery in control groups. I've been playing Terran a bit, and one of the nice things you can do in Starcraft 2, which you couldn't do in Starcraft 1, is you can select multiple buildings and assign them a control group. So you can assign all your barracks a control group, you can assign all your factories a control group, and then you can select all of your barracks at one time and just hit, say, the new hotkey for Marine is A, so you can just hit A, and it'll spread out the building and Marines to all the barracks. So rather than having to click on each barrack separately or selecting each barrack separately to build units, you can quickly mass them. And I mean, obviously the same thing applies for factories and for starports. So it looks like he's going for these medivacs. These are the new, instead of medics, they have medivacs, which fly above and heal units. And so he's in this version, you now have to upgrade these concussive shells for the Marauders, which slow units down. And he has Stimpack, although I don't believe I actually ever see this player actually using his Stimpack. So that's perhaps one thing that my opponent could work on, is remembering to use Stimpack when he's about to engage my units. In the meantime, I have a medium smallish force hiding in the air vents, trying to guard this choke. I've started using these creep tumors. One of the nice things about some of these more recent patches is you can place one creep tumor, and then each creep tumor gets its own creep tumor. So the queen only needs to place one creep tumor, and then that one creep tumor can place another, and then that one can place another. And so if you're on top of your game and a good Zerg player, you can slowly spread the creep around the base. Now, I'm going to say, I certainly don't consider, well, as I said many times, I don't consider myself a good player, and I consider myself a especially bad Zerg player, but that's actually part of one of my reasons for commentating this game, is to try to be very critical of my own gameplay and try to learn how to be more effective. Now, the other interesting thing, in addition to being healing buildings with transfusion that the queen has, and these creep tumors, the Zerg player can also spawn larvae. So let's watch this battle. And the spawn larva, the thing I find the trickiest about that is it doesn't instantly give you larva. There's like a delay. So you have to spawn the larva, and then at the set delay, you have to come back and be able to use those larvae. But I think those larvae actually stick around. It says larva in 40 seconds. Yes, we're slow players, but in a second here, okay, I'm going to engage him instead of waiting for him to engage me. So I have some Hydras, and I'm going to try to power down these medevacs. Maybe I need to turn the volume down a bit. So I took out one, but then I decided that maybe I should target his units instead. So he still has the one medevac in the air, and it's going to slowly recharge. So now I've rebuilt some Zerglings, and I'm going to send them in. And at this point, you can actually, there's a little graphic there showing you which unit's being healed by the medevac. But at this point, I figured I had enough Zerglings to take out those Marauders, but I was wrong.